Hello, Laverne here. Thank you for joining me in what is the 10th video in this series dealing with the writings of Enoch. In this video, I'm going to be talking about evil spirits, what they are, where they come from, and the importance of understanding them. I'm also going to try and dispel one of the arguments that atheists love to come up with in stating that God is an evil God for something that he does in the Old Testament. Now, where do evil spirits come from? Well, if you read the Bible, the 66 books, the Protestant Bible, you really don't get a clear answer. There is nothing that explains where these evil spirits come from. Most people simply chalk it up to Satan. But Enoch explains exactly where evil spirits come from. And it's not from the fallen angels. Enoch explains that evil spirits actually come and are giants who are the offspring that resulted from the union of fallen angel and women. You see, these fallen angels, who were called watchers, lusted after women and ended up having relationships with them. And the offspring were 3 different races of giants. Now God explains that their spirit or their soul is different from that of man's. Man was created with a dual nature, that of the carnal and that of spirit from God. These giants, while they had the same nature as the woman, they had a different spirit in them that came about from the angels. The spirit of the angel was intertwined with the spirit of man. And God explains that their spirit, when they die, does not sleep like man's does. It does not go to heaven or hell. It's not simply asleep, but rather is left to roam the earth. And Enoch explains that the spirit is kind of like a cloud, which is, kind of like people explain apparitions and ghosts. So these giants, when they die, their spirit is left to roam, and they're known as evil spirits. And Enoch tells us that they can take many forms. So they can possess not only humans, but also animals. We don't see this or hear this anywhere else in the Bible. We have no explanation of what evil spirits are except from Enoch. And what he tells us is they are actually giants who have passed away, that their evil spirit continues to roam. And not only does their evil spirit roam, but it's able to possess both man and animal. Now, in the New Testament, we actually see this happening. Jesus, when he comes up against a man in the graveyard, this man was possessed. And when Jesus asked the evil spirit what his name was, they replied, Legion, because there were so many of them. And then when Jesus cast them out, they asked if they could go into this swine herd, or this herd of swine. And Jesus allowed it. And then we see these spirits leaving the man and going into this herd of pigs. And they ended up running the pigs off this cliff, killing them all. So we actually see it happening, where these evil spirits took possession of a man and then took possession of an animal. And this lines up perfectly with what Enoch teaches us about evil spirits. Now, the other thing to keep in mind that I want to talk about is Enoch also tells us that these giants were cannibals. He tells us that after consuming all the food that humans had, and when that food ran out, they started consuming humans. So we know that these giants were cannibals. Now, I talked about in my last video how there was a man who made a vow to God that if he was allowed to win a great victory, when he got home, he would sacrifice whatsoever was the first thing to come out of his home. Well, the first thing happened to be his daughter. and so he sacrificed his daughter. And atheists love to point at this and say, what an evil God we serve that would force a man to make this sacrifice. But as I pointed out in the last video, this was not of God. Because Enoch explains that we are not to make vows, or we are not to make a vow to God. We are simply to let our yes be yes and our no be no. So if Christians understood the writings of Enoch, they would be able to refute this kind of argument coming from atheists. And in the same way, atheists love to point out how evil God is because he demands the Israelites to destroy certain cities, and in doing so to kill every person in that city, including babies, innocent babies. But you see, if we understood, the Christians understood the writings of Enoch, we would understand that the giants that were living in these cities were the offspring of the giants back in the day of early man, pre-flood. And these were the descendants, the same giants who were cannibals. They were exceedingly evil, and so when God tells the Israelites to wipe them out, he's telling them to wipe out this evil race of giant that are cannibalistic, but even more so, when these giants die, their spirits roam the earth and they become evil spirits that possess men and women and animal alike. So God commands the Israelites to completely wipe out these people. And that means killing the babies as well, because even as a baby, when that baby giant dies, his spirit continues to roam. So God, by wiping out this race of giants, he is ending the number of evil spirits that will roam the earth. This is so important to understand. Atheists don't understand. And not only do atheists not understand, Christians don't understand what God was doing and why he did it. We need to understand that the Canaanites were a race of giants. When Moses sent the 12 scouts into the promised land, they came back and said, it's beautiful, flowing of milk and honey, but we can't take it. We've got all these giants there. We have no hope whatsoever of defeating them. And what these giants were, they were descendants of the giants who came about from the union of angel and woman. And so when God wipes them out, he's not only wiping out an evil race who are cannibals, but he's also limiting the number of evil spirits that will wander the earth. And this is so important to understand. And in my next video, I'm going to talk about how this affects the New World Order and the end days. I look forward to questions and comments. Until next time, peace and blessings.